Hello everyone and welcome to Inside Healthcare. The new year brings the Super Bowl to the Twin Cities, and we've learned that major sporting events like the Super Bowl increase trafficking of a hidden, illegal, and dangerous public health issue. We're talking about sex trafficking. Local officials want you to know what is being done to help hundreds of Minnesota youth who are victims of sex trafficking. And we're very pleased to have back with us Washington County Sheriff Dan Starrings. Thank you for being with us.
Well, thank you for having me again.
So, sex trafficking is a major crime. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that in particular?
You hit the major word. It's a crime.
Yes.
And it's out there, and it's one of these things that I think that people don't want to talk about. But recently, it's really gained a lot of attention within the state, but within the metro, and especially within Washington County. Sex trafficking is a crime, and we want people to realize that and know that we take this stuff very seriously in Washington County. We started a task force in 2016 that really goes after the sex traffickers, but also assisting the victims as well.
And we're talking about slavery, really, is what it turns out to be for many of these young victims.
Absolutely. They, most of them are vulnerable, and that's how they get into it unknowingly. Someone will come up to them, a trafficker will come up to them, talk nice to them, sweet talk them. Pretty soon it's either by force or fraud or coercion of some type that the victim is introduced to this type of lifestyle.
And who are some of these victims that we're talking about? What type of ages and things like that?
I wish we could say that it's a particular group or gender or age, and I don't think we can say that.
Some are runaways.
I think what we're certainly finding with the youth, it's anywhere from 12 to 18.
12.
But we know that it goes into adult life as well. And so when we're looking at all of this stuff, we have to be cognizant of that, and then make sure that the victims, our system is a victim-centered approach as well.
Which is different than the old thinking, I believe, right?
Absolutely, with the safe harbor laws and everything else that we have, we make sure that we focus on that victim, because they're truly the ones that are victims, and we want to get them the help that they need. But we have to break that cycle.
And can you explain for our viewers the safe harbor law? What is that exactly?
Basically, a short version of it is mainly saying that these victims are not criminals, that we're not going to charge them, and that we're going to seek help and the correct help for them to help them off the streets and help them off of this lifestyle from being trafficked.
And this is not unique to Washington County, but why don't you tell us what the situation is in Washington County?
January is Human Trafficking Month nationally, so it's just here, right? It's bringing awareness, and then we have the Super Bowl that plays into it as well. But here in Washington County, we do have this task force. It's a great collaborative. It's with the county attorney's office. It's with Woodbury PD, Oakdale Police Department. We have our crime analysts. We have our crime victim services within the county. We have public health that are on the front lines teaching and training our hotel operators and staff. And then we have the sheriff's office as well. But we are at this, and we want to make sure that we do everything that we can to break that cycle and recover these victims that we know that are out there. Since we started our joint effort, we have looked at more than 170,000 online ads for commercial sex trafficking. More than 170,000, and which is just, we had no clue getting into that it was that much, that right here in the metro, but within Washington County.
And you were saying online, so mobile online has really changed the whole landscape of how, I guess, this sex trafficking is operated.
County Attorney Pete Orpett says it the best. And I wish he was here. But
he was supposed to be with us. He's under the weather.
He is under the weather. Well. And what he would say is that you can go get on your cell phone and you can order up a person faster than you can order a Domino's pizza or a pizza
horrible.
delivery. And so that is what that technology adds to us, is that piece that it's right in our face, it's right out there, it's at our hands, our fingertips, where we can order a person online. And that is wrong. And that's what we're seeing, and that's what we're going after. It's so mobile anymore that people are really, they feel that it's okay to do this. And that is, that's that cycle that we're bringing awareness, we're bringing education, and we're going after the traffickers and making sure that they're held accountable.
So who are the traffickers? Who are the buyers, I guess?
Any age, we do trainings all across the county, and it's any age. I mean, in any race, any demographic, and what we're seeing that it's one of those things that they just don't, there's money to be had, and so they're about making that money. And so that is the tough part, because it would be nice to go down the road and say, yep, there's a trafficker right there, and we can't. What we're seeing within Washington County and in those that we have held to account is that they really are every age, and then every demographic of society as well.
And it has always existed. It's just that, and it's not expanding, I guess, except maybe when there's a Super Bowl in town, but it's because you have this task force that you're really identifying, tackling this, combating it. And how are some of those ways that you're able to, you mentioned you working with the hotels and things like that?
Absolutely. So we were just awarded from the state of Minnesota Office of Justice Programs, we were just awarded $313,000 from the state over the next 2 years to help fund our task force, which we're putting a supervisor in that task force from the sheriff's office. But what we're looking at is what are the ways across the state that we can collaborate with others, whether it's the state, whether it's the city PDs, whether it's other county sheriff's offices. What is the best way to attack this? Instead of everyone doing something different, is how do we collaborate and make sure that we're going after the traffickers that we need to.
It isn't just something happening here in Washington County or here in Ramsey County. It's goes across the lines and stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely. We just made the news last week that one of our traffickers, was found guilty, and so one of those. I mean, we've recovered almost 50 victims of human trafficking since we started, but we've also there's more than 20 that we have charged as well, and that is within Washington County. But then there's others that obviously we assist when we find those. We assist other cities and counties as well going forward.
And with the Super Bowl coming to town, we know that will increase some of this traffic. And what are you doing to combat that?
Yeah, what a great point. I know that we're certainly working with our partners throughout the metro area and around the state for that matter. But we're really looking at how to work more collaborative with that, in whether that's getting out and meeting with a lot of different groups, but hotel owners and their staff, making sure that they get the education that they need to really identify who are the victims, what do they look like, and what do hotel owners also look at as far as traffickers, and what do they look like, and some of the signs that they can recognize. But it's also getting out and educating just law enforcement. This is something newer for us, that we want to make sure that law enforcement in general across the metro and across the state, that we really know what we're looking for. And so when we come across a victim or a trafficker in a squad or a traffic stop or at a call, that we really look at those signs and we can get them the help that they need.
What would be some of those signs that you could share with our viewers that maybe they out there can also be looking out for things?
Yeah, I think education is key, and there's multiple ways if you go online, there's it really goes in details what a victim may look like or what a trafficker looks like. But really for the victim, it's someone that's really being held down. And I don't mean that in the physical sense. I mean that as when you approach them that maybe they don't have any identification on them. Maybe that they wait for someone like their trafficker to answer their questions for them. Maybe they are a juvenile runaway. Maybe you come into a house and there's multiple victims that are in a house all living together. There's multiple different signs, and not one makes them a victim or a trafficker, but the culmination of everything. And so we really want to make sure that law enforcement, hotel staff, and we work with our public and private partners so wonderfully. I mean, they get it, they want to help, and with the addition with the Super Bowl, it's really made an awareness, for the whole state. And we want to make sure that once the Super Bowl leaves, that the awareness is still ongoing and the education is still ongoing, and we stop this crime.
And with the Super Bowl in Minneapolis, it's not going to be isolated just in Minneapolis, and I understand there'll be really tight security and stuff, but this is throughout the whole metro, throughout the whole state, right? Absolutely.
And again, with technology, we know that it's going to be very prevalent, and we want to make sure that we started before, we're continuing, and we'll be here after fighting this crime and making sure that we bring those that are trafficking held to account, but also making sure that the victims are helped as well.
And this isn't just something that happens in the big cities. That's what we think of.
You know, right? I think a lot of times, especially out here in Washington County, where some of our areas are rural, people may think that it only occurs in the urban, the Minneapolis or the St. Paul's, but it's not. It's right out here, and we've certainly proven that over the last couple of years with our collaborative effort.
And you did mention too that you work with Washington County Public Health as well. So this is a public health issue as well as a serious crime.
It really is, and when we recover these victims, we really have to look at what their needs are. Is it shelter? Is it just their basic needs that they need, but then it's also their mental and well-being as well. And we want to make sure that we get them the help. Now, we also know that some of the victims may not want help, and that's that other side where we have to have the professionals and the right people to come in and make sure that we do everything that we can possible to stop that life cycle.
It kind of reminds me of like with domestic violence too, that sometimes the victims don't want help as well, and that that they have also turned law enforcement away, and this does involve not only when you think of sex trafficking, but it involves sexual assault, it involves violence, domestic violence, and it also involves in one case or some cases, possibly even murder?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's face it, this is a money opportunity and a money business for these traffickers. They don't do this just, there's something behind it, and that's profit. And they don't care what they do to the victims. What they do care about is their profit and their money. And so with the victims, whether it's branding them as their own, whether it's through force, whether it's coercion, they make sure that once they have these victims, that they keep those victims. And unfortunately, it can lead to to violent acts or even death.
What else should our viewers know about this crime, about what they can do, that they should be looking out for? How can they help?
I think the biggest thing for the viewers out there is if you see something that you think is suspicious, please call 911. Let law enforcement know. We will go out and we will take a look at it and see if those same signs are there that they're seeing. And we really want to we would rather go to a call and say it's not, then
like miss that
opportunity, because
or at a mall.
At a mall, because these crimes are so fluid and they're so transient, and so for us, we want to make sure that if they do see something that they think is someone's being trafficked, please call 911. See something, say something is the common line for a lot of stuff these days, but it truly is.
And don't worry that you're bothering the police or the law enforcement.
You can call anonymously as well. And that's a great point. You're not bothering us. We're out there 24/7 anyhow, so make sure you call.
And again, you were saying, like, if the victim, there are some signs that you can see, but other signs that people would recognize that they should see, like that might call attention to it?
Yeah, I think especially now with technology, people are on their phones and computers. I think for the most part, what they're going to see is a lot of those type of ads that are online, and it may be more prevalent as we come to the Super Bowl as well, or this time period. And if they see something like that, please, there's whether it's through the state, whether it's through the county sheriff or the local police departments, please just call in and do that. But whether it might be a runaway that Johnny may know Susie, and then they start talking, and then that gets back to an adult or someone that says, hey, wait a minute, that's not right. Mm-hmm. And that sounds like human trafficking, or it could be human trafficking. And so then they report that, and we would expect them to report that.
Okay, really good advice. And Washington County is sort of taking a lead on this, it seems like, in the state.
I think Minnesota in general is a leader within the state. Certainly, I know Amy Klobuchar is out in D.C. working on stuff as well related to human trafficking. But right here in Washington County, absolutely. We started this a couple years ago as a collaborative effort because we started seeing some of these signs and symptoms out there, and we started seeing victims being recovered. And we wanted to make sure that we were doing our part within Washington County. So we put this group together, and it's really been very successful at recovering those victims, and also just not within Washington County, but we're also assisting others as well, because what we're doing with our analytical work, again, 170,000 ads that we've went through and we have data on. And obviously that's not all here in Washington County, but metro-wide or statewide or other states as well we've been to. So with that, it's one of those things that we want to make sure that we continue to do our part. We continue to be our leaders in our area, but the focus is on the victims and helping our most vulnerable as we go forward.
So when you say traffickers that have been arrested or charged or prosecuted, are we also talking buyers then too? Will they be prosecuted?
Absolutely. It's one of those things that we have done stings locally as well for those that go out and buy a human being. And so those people have been charged as well. And, it's really hard to think of that someone would go and buy a person these days, isn't it? I mean, it really is, but that, unfortunately, that's what we're seeing.
Well, so sad. Well, great information. It's always a pleasure to have you with us, so thank you. Sheriff.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Good advice. So still ahead, we're going to tell you about a fundraiser that's coming up that you might be interested in. Stay with us. Thanks.
Dancing to me, I think it's the truest form of expression.
I was a dancer since I was 4 years old. I was tripping and I was falling, and I didn't even know what multiple sclerosis was.
With the 360 camera, it gives the chance for someone to see what I see, experience what I experience. Have a surprise.
Are you ready for this?
Here we go.
Oh my God. I dream sometimes and I see that. I like the way your arms sound.
Yay.
We are there, day one, with baby names and a gift that lasts a lifetime. We are there as you grow, protecting you and those you love. We are there when you get your first job, helping you to save for the future. We are there when you marry your sweetheart to help secure your new life together. We are there if the unexpected happens, to help you see life from a new perspective. We are there when you start your next chapter to make sure you get off to a great start. And we are there when you lose your soulmate to help make sure you will be all right. We are with you through life's journey. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. Get to know us and see what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
This video produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
You can help make a difference in the lives of local students through a program called the Fairytale Fashion for Food. And to tell us all about it, we're pleased to have back with us Cheryl Joggers. Thank you, with South Washco Cares. So thank you.
Thanks for having me again, Jody.
So you were here last year to tell us about that. Was your first one. You're doing it again. And tell us a little bit about the whole event that you're having. What's it all about? And
yeah, so
you have some beautiful dresses behind you.
Yeah, I brought some dresses with me. So Washco Cares is once again partnering with South Washington County Schools Community Education to host Fairytale Fashion for Food. And this is a dress shop and swap event where students can come and buy new and gently used dresses for $20. And then what's really cool about it is all the proceeds will go towards our summer food pack program.
And tell us about the summer pack program. What is that all about?
Yeah, so we have students who rely on schools for their meals. They get their best meals at school, and when school is out, especially during extended breaks like summer vacation, we really want to make sure that these kids are getting something to eat. So we invite the community to donate food, and we work with our food shelves and with Second Harvest to purchase food, and then we assemble food into meal packs that we send home with our kiddos on the last day of school, so they have something to take home.
And Second Harvest, that's a new partnership that you're doing with them as well?
Yeah, we're working with Second Harvest this year on a No Kid Hungry initiative. It's a collective impact mission, so we're really hoping to work with different sectors of the community, the food shelves, the public, the school district, and city, local government, to really have the biggest impact we can by working together. And we really believe that we can make sure that no kid is hungry in South Washington County. It sounds daunting.
It does sound daunting.
But I think, with everybody working together, and I think this is a cause that most people can get behind, no kid really should go hungry. There's no reason for that with the resources that we have. So I think working together, we can really have a huge impact.
I think people might be surprised to hear that there are kids that are going hungry in our own communities.
Yeah, and that's part of what we try to do with So Washco Cares, is really to raise that awareness. We have close to 4,000 students receiving free and reduced meals.
And that's just one school district?
That's just the South Washington County School District. And we're a fairly affluent district, but we do have pockets of poverty, and we want to make sure that every kid is getting what they need so that they can come to school and focus on learning.
Well, good luck with all of that. And the event, tell us a little bit about the event that you're going to be having, this swap. What do you call it?
Yep, it's a dress shop and swap. So
swap.
Kids can come in and they can buy new or gently used dresses for $20, or they can donate a dress and they can get a dress for free. This year we are having a live auction at each of our events. So we'll be having pop-up shops at each of our 3 high schools. Park High School will be on January 19th, and then we'll be at the Woodbury East Ridge rival basketball game on February 13th, and then there'll be another chance to shop on February 20th at East Ridge.
So what's involved with a pop-up shop then?
So we have gorgeous gowns. I've brought a few with me. We invite the kids to come in and shop our racks of gorgeous gowns. We have hundreds of gowns that have been donated by the community as well as by local businesses. And the 3 that I brought with me today were generously donated by Glitz at the Mall of America before they went out of business.
Oh,
so
no.
They gave us the rest of their inventory. So we have several
Really?
of these beautiful, brand new, beaded, gorgeous gowns. And for the live auction, the bids will start at $50. And as you can see, that's quite a deal for some of these dresses. And again, everything will go towards buying food for our summer food packs for our kids in need in our schools.
And this is a passion of yours, helping out these kids.
Yeah, you know, it really started when Woodbury hosted the Feed My Starving Children event a couple of years back, and we saw the response to that was amazing. And we have another mobile food pack coming up in 2018, I think, for Feed My Starving Children. And
in October, I think.
Yeah, I think it's in October at the Healthy Sports Center again. And the response from the community was amazing. You really saw families, businesses, churches, everybody came out to support those kids who didn't have what they need. And that's what led to the idea of Sawashko Cares, where, you know, what if we could do that same thing for the kids right here in our community who don't have what they need?
Wouldn't it be wonderful that at some point in the future that the organization wouldn't have to do that anymore, because everyone has food and you don't have to worry about it.
Absolutely, that is the end goal.
So if someone's not able to go to any of the events that you were talking about, how can they help out?
Yeah, so we have the 3 events at each of the 3 high schools, but if you can't make any of those, or you're just a last-minute shopper, you can look for our CE Schoolie. That's our little mini school bus that travels around town, and we will be using that as a mobile storefront to take these dresses out into local communities in South Washington County. There's a CE Schoolie app that people can download to find out where we're at. Otherwise, for more information, people can follow Sawashko Cares on Facebook or Twitter.
And how long will you be doing the pop-up, and then also the what did you call it again? The CE?
The Schoolie, yeah.
The school thing. How long will you do that until you run out of dresses? Or?
Yeah, so we'll be collecting, so we're collecting dresses as well at all of our events, and then people can donate at community ed offices at the District Program Center or at Central Park. And we'll be collecting dresses all through prom season. So last year, Schoolie went out to different locations all the way through April, which I think is when our last prom
I heard it
is.
was a big hit too.
Yeah, I mean, we've done other mobile programming with Schoolie, and the kids just love it. It's a fun. Last summer we had a paint the bus event, so people could come out and just paint the bus, and it was sort of
don't paint the dresses, paint
not
the
the dresses. Yeah, sort of a moving mural. So it's really a fun community event.
What's the reaction that you get from the young ladies being able to get one of these beautiful dresses?
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, you know, it's for everybody. Anybody can come buy a dress. You don't have to be in need. It's really a way to pay it forward. Donating a dress and buying a dress, it all goes to a really good cause. But we did have one dad in particular tell us that if it weren't for this event last year, his daughter wouldn't have been able to go to prom. Aww. And that really means so much to us, because that's, you know, the whole point is really, you know, you can make a huge difference in someone's life just by a very simple way. And
then just to think about then the pay it forward that it's resulting in helping to feed these kids too. Wow, exactly. What a great program.
Thank you.
Any final comments for our viewers?
Yeah, please come to the event, buy a dress, donate a dress. It all goes to a really, really good cause.
Well, Cheryl, glad to have you back with us. And good luck with everything.
Thank you, Jody.
Thank you. And we'd like to thank you for joining us. We hope you join us next time on Inside Healthcare. We'll see you then, everyone.